No doubt you've most likely flown on a plane before, or you've seen one, but you might have a question: how did that plane you were looking at or flying on get delivered to the airline that is operating it? Tune in for a detailed explanation. Welcome to GlobeTrotting. As part of our rolling coverage on the aviation industry, we move to aircraft deliveries. Before we begin though, subscribe to the channel for more content. Airbus and Boeing, two of the aviation sector's giants. During the pandemic, yes, they both experienced their difficulties. In principle though, the art of delivering aircraft to customers remains the same, and it's something that happens very frequently, even while we're sleeping. The question, however, is, how does this exactly take place? Well, before an aircraft is delivered, there's a lot that goes into getting the said aircraft ready for delivery to customers. Namely, of course, the cabin fitting and close contact between the customer and the aircraft manufacturer, also suppliers, regarding the production of the aircraft from part to part, ensuring that it is up to the standard, not just of the manufacturer, but also the ones that are going to be receiving the plane. We typically see, though, paperwork exchanged with some photos, and then the plane is in the air. There are different types of deliveries. Some can be quieter than others. In contrast, others can be a lot more outgoing. This could be for the launch of a new airline, or an airline welcoming in a first aircraft, or a particular milestone. Say British Airways welcoming in their 777X, the very first one, or another Boeing 787. One of the two here is going to get a lot of fanfare, and I'll give you a bit of a hint. It's the earlier, the 777X. It would ultimately receive a lot more fanfare than another standard 787 arriving. On British Airways' part, they've already celebrated the 787, so unless it was a monumental milestone, it would be unlikely. Aircraft deliveries can also generally depend on the geographic location of the customer in question. For example, if you're flying an Airbus A321 from Europe to Australia, you're going to have stopovers. In addition, the potential for ferry tanks to be included can ultimately extend the range of the aircraft, helping it reach its end destination, and we've seen some absolutely astonishing different routing for deliveries of aircraft in the past, ones you would never see an airline operate on a regular day. However, even with this, it isn't uncommon for a stopover, like I mentioned, to occur on the journey across to whichever location this said plane is headed, whether it be Sydney, New Zealand, Melbourne, or even Southeast Asia. For your longer-ranged aircraft, and therefore the larger ones, these typically won't have as significant of a problem reaching their end destination, thanks to their range. It also helps with Airbus and Boeing being based in Europe and the United States respectively, with Airbus also producing specific types in other locations, notably in North America. A significant portion of the customer base is located largely close by. For example, we have the European countries, or the likes of the United States, Canada, Mexico, and all of South America very close by. It means delivering aircraft this far is never usually a problem and can be done very, very straightforwardly. Of course, however, the aircraft is not always delivered to the airline, and that's due to the method of obtaining aircraft through a lease, a much more common way of purchasing aircraft than you might think. With as a bit of a fun fact, just to give you an idea how important the leasing market is, a significant portion of the aircraft currently flying right now at the time of watching this video are actually flying under a lease. There are definitely varying types of leases. However, a dry lease will generally allow the carrier in question, British Airways let's say, to fly the said plane for a set period, maintain said plane and supply their crew. After the designated period, the aircraft will then typically depart unless something is agreed upon in the form of an extension. A wet lease is generally more short-term if an existing aircraft has issues or needs added cover. There are also other methods of leasing, however those can get more complex, and they are something we'll be exploring on GlobeTrotting here in the future. Before, however, these aircraft can just complete their journey to their new home when being delivered, whether it be Sydney or London Heathrow, they do need to have that all-important paperwork signed off at where the plane is being produced. The keys are quite literally handed over like a new car, and then the aircraft is in the hands of the carrier in question. If you've seen airline or airport shows, you'll no doubt have witnessed pilots flying from the said airline to almost go and collect their new plane and bring it home, where it will live out its days with the airline until it moves on elsewhere later in its life. It's quite a journey, it's very complex, but it's such a fundamental part. Deliveries are fundamental to any airline's success. Without the delivery of an aircraft, well, then that airline cannot fly said plane. It happens consistently, with hundreds every single month across various different manufacturers. And while certainly being a complex process, and there being much more to it than just this brief explanation, the aircraft manufacturers and airlines have it so down pat that it is usually done smoothly without any issues. What are your thoughts on the delivery of aircraft to airlines? Do let us know below in the comments. Have you ever witnessed a delivery flight take place? Put it in the comments, and thank you very much for watching. Do take care, do be safe, and we will see you here next time on GlobeTrotting.